Yeah, I should have made the stencil mask of the player character much higher than the enemies. And I think because they have a higher value, I think they appear in front of the player character. So there's a bit of a lesson learned. I wonder if the order of the post-processing effects changes anything. No, I had a feeling. Kind of annoyed as to why. There you go, custom stencil. 002. Oh yeah, shit, man. So any value that's slightly above or above any value is going to appear in front, it seems. So 02 appears in front of 01, which makes sense. But because the enemies are 254, they appear in front of the player character. Interesting. So a fix would be changing all the numbers so that the player character is above all of them. And the enemies are below, so that the player character appears in front of them in terms of depth, stencil, priority. Yeah, that would be the plan. Bit of danger. I've been trying outlines on my UFO project and it looks quite cool. Dude, it's outlines can bring out a really cool vibe. Like we had I don't know if I still have a video of an older project that I was working on. Let me see if I do. Randy Crim UE5. Do I have a videos? Yeah, I had this old project and it had some some outline effect on it and it honestly looked pretty sweet. I don't know if I have a video of showing off the outline effect. Oh, right here. Yeah. So you can see the outlines on all the buildings and stuff and on the player character. It's definitely a different visual vibe, of course. But it's cool. It looks cool. It's a lot more subtle in these videos. Because I think I changed some of the post-processing. Like, might have changed the intensity of it, but I'm pretty sure it's still there. You can see it on the weapon and everything. Okay, so for us to fix this issue, we have to change the we have to change the value of our custom depth stencils, which is a good idea anyways. Okay. So the one we want to look at is outline colored. So stencil start index is 252. We get all these random fucking colors that honestly I don't really care about. I don't care about green, blue, or maybe I do. I don't know. I don't remember using them at all. Great, gotta go through this fucking thing. I'm pretty sure I got from a marketplace asset. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I use the green and the blue ever. Or color 1 and color 2. So we're going to want to change this start index, and hopefully we can, to a different value. We're going to want to do, instead of 254 for the enemies, let's say we want them to start at, because I noticed some of these objects have a different value actually here. They start at 1. I think 1 is just like a stylized value. So we're going to make these dudes start at 2. I think we'll make them start at 2. So their weapon will be Dose. Okay. Am I already on Windows 11? I'm not. I might purchase the long-term support thing so that I don't have to fucking switch yet. The thing is, though, at some point I'm probably going to have to switch anyways, so it's inevitable, unfortunately. I don't know what this mask used for stencil buffer writes. I'd be curious to see what that does. Anyways, we'll set that to 2. It does mean that we'll no longer see the enemies through surfaces. Let me just copy in top down. So what we'll change is make it so that actually occurs. So we need to change this so the stencil start index is 2. But the problem is, because of that value, we start off with the fucking green and blue value that I don't think we ever use at all. Like, at all. I don't think we ever use green or blue. Well, maybe we use blue. I think we do use blue. So what we should do is delete the green value. What is this subtracting? The max. Max of what? Because I'm pretty sure we do use that. Maybe not green, but I'm pretty sure we use blue. So what we should do is have two colors. It's funny, when you're a non-coder, you always think new version, awesome, new, exciting. When you're a coder, you think bugs broken, old version is proven stable. To an extent, because the thing is, like, okay, for operating systems, yes. For software, kind of no and yes. Because new version could mean bugs that you're currently going through on base software would get fixed, hopefully. In the situation with Unreal, it's a bit awkward because they love to just keep adding in bullshit, which is very unhelpful. So I do think this blue gets used. What I'm going to do is we are just going to use color 1 and color 2. We're going to delete color 3 and color 4. And this is going to be what we do here. And this does mean, I think there's other actors in the game that I have to look into that are probably going to be broken. So I'm going to have to look at that. So this starts at 2, which means we want to use 3 for the enemies. This should, in theory, fix the issue. One thing I'm noticing now, though, is the stylized shader is not appearing on them, and that's because I think we select specific values for them to appear on. So, bitmask 1, 254, and 2. Instead of 254, we're going to do 3. And maybe even 4, but that's all right. Workshop support, it's a goal. I'm not sure when, but ideally it'd be cool to put it in for sure. Okay, so it's still appearing, but that's because our player character is still on a lower value, which I believe is 2. So we're going to set this guy to like 5. It's going to be our new thing. Set this guy to 5. Interesting. The laser, does the laser use any? No, it doesn't have any custom depth, which makes sense, I guess. Okay, so now that we're on 5, it means we don't have the stylized shader, but we should be in front of the enemies. Or not. Maybe it's worse. Wait, hold on. Let's see here. Cell shading. So 3 and 2. This is going to be 5, but maybe we use a bunch of stuff in 2. So let's add, just add one. What's our character on? 5. Have I seen the Battlefield 6 announcement already? Yeah, I'm curious to see what the multiplayer reveal is going to look like. Okay, so it's fixed, but at what cost? What did I break in the process? Did I ever get the random memory leaks fixed? I have not, Ray, but I think I've determined the issue to be UI related or slate related. I tried to do some optimizations, but it wasn't enough, so I'm going to have to do some more. Yeah, I have to do some profiling to figure out what exactly is causing the issue. It's just, it's going to create a profiling file that's like 8 gigabytes large. Just, yeah. Are you going to use that in the next project? I don't know, Venix. That's one of the game ideas we had that I was working on, and, you know, just haven't worked on it. Okay, so here's where I think this is bugged out. I think it's falafel. I think in falafel we use the blue value, and now it's going to be broken for like the C4 placements or some shit. Like right here, it's red. If I were to guess, it's red currently, but if you read stencil, the fuck is it called, man? See, it's set to 4, which I guess is still fine. It's just red. Can you see the enemy, the AI enemies anim graph for a sec? Oh, they're really simple. They're dummy simple. Like they're not complex at all. I didn't give that much love to the enemies animation blueprints, honestly, versus the player characters. Just this, then we have a linked graph. And this is literally just, this is their entire graph. You know, Johnny, how's the process going? Not too bad. Not too bad. Trying to fix a couple bugs. So I think it's safe to say the bug with the enemies appearing through the walls shouldn't appear anymore. I'll quickly look over Sydney. This was in Flipside. And I think we generally got most of the actors. Okay, yeah, there we go. Goodbye. Uh-oh. Looks like a Mirror's Edge level. There's some inspiration for Mirror's Edge for sure. Mostly like how they utilize color. Okay. That should be fixed. Shader making it so enemies appear through player's body. Okay, so should be fixed, and hopefully I didn't break anything in the process. Those are some pretty big changes. Some of the actors have the incorrect value, but I don't remember what their value was even supposed to be. Actually, yeah, I know some enemies that are probably fucking broken. Like, what's their value supposed to be now? 3, supposedly 3. 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I think the elite. Is his helmet appearing through the thing? That's kind of surprising if it is. No, it's using the wrong value. I had a feeling. Will the sniper's laser indicator be messed up? I don't think the sniper's laser uses any of the custom depth stencil value, but let me check if they actually were. Yeah, so that one's fine. Now, one thing that could be fucked is the firing indicator, like when an enemy fires a bullet. Let me just make sure. This guy is not derived from the other actor, of course not, which means I have to set these manually. I'm a bit of a dummy. Wait, where's the Boolean to turn this on? Wait, where is... Huh? Why is this Boolean not in the right spot? Interesting. Unreal Engine. When will my game be ready for release? It's already released. How much did I invest in this project? Like money-wise? Or hour-wise? I don't know either. I don't know the answer to either. I was at one point tracking all of my hours at some point, but I quit doing that. I was over it. Where am I? Yeah, see, at one point I was tracking all of my work hours every single day. We got 13 hours, 5 hours, 9 hours. I quit doing that shit. I was over it. I think I did it for a whole year. That was my New Year's resolution. Oh, wait, maybe I didn't do it for a whole year because I don't see anything after July. I did it for half a year, apparently. Wait, no, I did do it for a full year. 2023. Oh, I did it for a year and a half. I did it for a year and a half. Here's where we worked on that one game that I just showed you guys, the one with the sword, with the edge shader. I guess I worked on it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then we started working on the day after, the little parody thing. And then I think we probably started working on that again right here. 13 hours. Bunch of other shit over here. Yeah, we worked on that shit for too long. Anyways, yeah. Fun looking back at that again. What's the name of the game? Suit for Hire. Suit for Hire. Oh, right. Let's look at the firing indicator, because that's something that we need to look at. So the firing indicator is a particle effect, and lethal attack indicator. Wait, that's not it. I think it's just a particle effect that we spawn. Where is it though? Spawn sound effect, spawn emitter. Aha. Pretty sure I can specify a custom depth stencil unless... Aha, I was doing it here. So we'll set that to 3. There we go. I think it's 3. Let me double check.
What was that?
We should see it through the wall, at least even a little bit. God, I gotta fix some of this AI. They're just kind of annoying. Do I know 3D modeling? Do I pay an artist for the assets or I buy them? I do all 3. I can make assets myself, like this gun model. A lot of the gun models I modeled myself. But I don't have too much time, so I do end up buying quite a bit of assets as well. I think the RPG we made on stream, pretty sure. Yeah, which was honestly kind of a waste of time when I could have bought an asset, but I was like sketched out when we were looking at assets because some of them looked like they were straight ripped out of like Call of Duty or something. And I was like, okay, I'm not messing with that. So I just modeled it in like a day or something. Yeah, I could do all, I can model all of my shit. It's just, it takes a lot of time. Is it worth taking a lot of that time? And I could probably spend that time doing something else? Nah. Are people going to call my game an asset flip? Probably. But either way, I think people are going to call it an asset flip anyways. It's gaming. You know, Golden. Did somebody already call it an asset flip? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. They also called it a high school project. And a top-down template. They called it a top-down template. They assumed that it's just the Unreal top-down template. Which, funny enough, I don't even think we use the top-down template. We use the third-person template, motherfucker. All right, so fucking checkmate, motherfucker. We use the third-person template. When the game was top-down. Sugma. I think the reality of being a game dev is people are just going to call your game anything and whatnot. So it's, I got over it. I don't care. You know, Nemesis, love your work. Keep going. I thank you, Nemesis. Appreciate it. Meshy AI, I don't care for that shit. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather just use an asset that's made honestly. Like Decagon has some really great looking assets, and I'd rather just make my own asset because those meshy things currently, I don't know what they're going to be like in the future. I don't care what they're going to be like in the future. The model is shit. We all know you stole this game from Nintendo. Don't tell them, okay? High school project asset flip I can make in 5 minutes. Someone genuinely said this is just an asset that could be made in like 30 minutes or something. And I was like, is it that easy? I'm doing shit wrong if it's that easy. Shit. They know something I don't. they know something I don't, man. Fuck. Damn it. Meshy AI is terrible unless you ask it to make generic assets like barrels and shit. I already got a bunch of those already anyways, so. Imagine I make all my assets myself and still get called an asset flipper. There's no winning, I think. Just fucking make cool video games. As a developer, ignore all the noise. Just make cool-ass fucking video games. People that are interested will find it. People that don't give a shit and want to fucking just yell at anything and yell at clouds, they'll keep yelling at clouds. And then that's just reality. I'll just keep working on the game and improving the game for the people that are actually interested in the game, and that's it. You know, that's. I've stopped listening to negative reviews unless they actually have good feedback that I can actually like work off of, and it not like game is shit. You know what I mean? Like something I could actually like work off of. I don't know how to fix this audio issue though. I'm gonna be honest. I'm still thinking about that. Today my feed was filled. With how bad UE5 is because of that Fallen Feathers game. Again, that's another situation where it's like I don't give a shit. Listen, the issues I deal with UE5 are my own issues. I'll figure it out. If I have to optimize the game, I'll fucking fix it myself. You know, I'll learn about it myself. There is tons of information, especially now. Maybe 2 years ago, not as much. But now, with all the information that's getting out there about stutters, optimization, all this stuff, like a game development studio should be able to improve things. At least 90%. But I really don't care. Like, the arguments are so silly. It's like, whatever. Yeah, there's still the stutter in open world games, but I'm pretty sure CD Projekt Red is working on that, and they're doing submits to the main branch. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see that at least. It's like I've been saying, 5.7 is still like early. 5.6 is still very early engine version. And in my opinion, I don't think people should be using it unless they are prepared to make some big C++ leaps and, you know. Either way, like the engine is just it's a different it's a little bit of a different workflow. Like a bunch of tools are just different. Just a Lumen hater. John Nanite's gonna have a field day with Fallen Feathers. Oh, you mean the guy that doesn't actually use the engine, even though he wants to make a branch that modifies the engine? You mean the guy that like literally said he would make a video game and then stopped making the video game probably because he realized it's actually too difficult? Ah, yes, that John Nanite. Oh, you mean the people, the John Nanite that people still cult-like follow him, even though like he's clearly a grifter? Ruby, thank you for adding the third person camera. Better for that. It's amazing how it gives a different life into a top-down game. Wish more top-down games did it. You know, I understand why some people, you know, some top-down games wouldn't do it. It's a lot. It is quite a bit of work to get it to feel good. Like, I'm not gonna say it's the perfect implementation for third person, but it's fun, and I think that's the bottom line of it. Is just making sure it's fun, you know. The John Nanite that's banned from all the subreddits full of people who agree with him. That John Nanite? You mean the John Nanite that like is banned from fuck TAA, which is literally his entire audience? Oh, you mean the John Nanite that assumes that he's making a difference and that NVIDIA is making changes on their software because he's making videos about it and he's claiming responsibility for those changes? That John? Can't wait to get back to working on my games once my PC gets rebuilt. Golden, your issue is your motherboard, right? Was that the issue? I think there's multiple people in chat that have PC issues. Oh yeah, Phantasmal, dude, Arc Raiders was awesome. Arc Raiders in general is not only just a good example of UE5, it's just a good ass video game, man. It felt so good to play. It was fun. It was a very fun game to play in the beta. And apparently the developers, like the first beta was like okay, but the second beta was like a huge improvement from the first beta, apparently. So I think they know what they're doing. They're doing a good ass job. I think it's the same people that made the finals, right? Is it the same team? I assume it's a different subset of the development studio, but it's the same studio, right? Which V Rising did it? V Rising is the vampire game, right? The vampire. Yeah. I wonder how that game would play in third person. That'd be interesting. I can't scroll up on my chat for some reason. Oh, there we go. Yeah, let's be real. I think one thing we can all agree on, Epic Games' marketing department needs to stop. Because I think they are overselling the engine. And what ends up happening is people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, or CEOs that don't know what the fuck they're doing, assigns a team to use UE5 that they never used before. And they're like, hey, make a game in 3 years. You don't have time to learn anything, by the way. You just make the game. I think Embark is a good example of a team that took the time to probably go into it and learn what they're doing, learn how to use it properly and whatnot. And that's when management actually fucking knows what to do, at least to some degree. So yeah, I think the next few versions of the engine I think are going to be big versions that are going to impact, hopefully, the engine in a positive way. 5.7 is already a pretty good thing. Like 5.6 is like the beginning, I think, because that's probably the one that has the most contribution from CD Projekt Red, and I hope other studios are also contributing to the public build. As far as I can tell, it seems to be quite the thing now. But 6 will be nuts to say the least. Man, here, hot take, fucking get Tim Sweeney out of the director's table. In fact, get all of those people off of the director's table. UE6. Ugh. Stop. Just stop it, man. Thank God for Ari. I know, right? The sad thing is about, like, people like Ari come and go often. Like, I'm just really glad that Ari is there right now working at Epic. And making some huge strides to make all of that knowledge and information a lot more public. And I'm sure it's not just Ari. I'm sure there's a huge team behind Ari as well, helping with getting those talks and stuff going as well. One man can't have all that power. I'm using the UE5 default character locomotion parkour shooting system and inventory. Is it possible to change the UE5 character with my own character? It is. You're just going to have to learn about retargeting and all that stuff. So good luck with that. Yeah. Seems like fixing things is not sexy. New features generate hype. Let's be real, man. Their marketing department knows when to market things. When the engine makes optimizations, they're not going to get praise for making optimizations, even though that's literally what everybody wants. But they don't praise it when it happens. They just want more. They just want the game. They want games to run on their fucking 1050 Ti. It's like, dude, your 1050 Ti is a little bit old. I'm just going to be honest. I know it might be a bit of an age check for you, but that shit's like 10 plus years old. No one's ever going to be happy. It's the same situation. It's the same situation. It's a tough thing. Should I have to retarget every animation? If you do it properly, Rumen, you can make it so you don't have to retarget every animation. And I think the new systems makes it a bit better. So doesn't have the average person have like a 30 card now? Well, based off of Steam's survey, I think people are in the 20 series, 30 series now, but there are still people with like a 1080. Which by all means, I used to have a 1080. It was a great card. It kind of just bit the dust. It just kind of bit the dust, unfortunately, which is kind of sad, but yeah. Also, you have Asmongold reacting YouTube videos about the new features. Yeah, I think it'd be nice if gamers stopped reacting to it, but to be fair, it is Epic Games' fault for making all of that marketing so gamer-centric. They need to stop doing that, but I understand they have to market it. Investors, all this other shit. Don't get me wrong. I think Unreal wouldn't be in the position it's in from a public-facing standpoint if it wasn't marketed the way it was. But I'm sure the way it was marketed probably earned them a lot of like investors and all this other shit. So, you know, yeah. Do I plan on making further updates for Suits? Are there any new game plans? I'm mostly thinking about trying to move to a new game, but I am going to be trying to do mod support, you know, polish, fixing things where I can. I just want to make sure that I'm setting the bar here. This is not a AAA game. It's not going to suddenly get polished to look and feel like a AAA game out of nowhere. I'm just going to try to put some quality of life stuff so people can customize their stuff. Put some mod support in, so it's like people can put in new cosmetics, some new cosmetics and whatever without having to replace cosmetics. That seems to be the current workflow for modders. So, yeah. If I end up putting any new mechanics, that's just because I was bored and felt like putting it in. I don't want to put any new mechanics now because it's like I would love to put a slide in, but if I put a slide in when you sprint and then crouch, I'd have to make it so that slide works on ramps, make that slide work when going into enemy. Like, I would love to do that. That'd be cool. It'd be a cool little thing, but it's like, I'll try what I can. But at the same time, I am also kind of, you know, preparing to get started on the next thing at some point or another. Dev makes suit open world out of boredom. Someone actually genuinely asked for like Suit for Hire to have an open world mode where you can like drive around and do contracts in an open world. And I'm like, brother, that's a whole ass different fucking video game. that's a whole ass, like, that's a cool idea, but let me get some water, man. That's just Ronan. Ronan's old design theory was, or design idea concept was that every 12 hours, kind of like Peak, every 12 or 24 hours, a new city would be generated every single time, and you would do contracts or like roguelite elements within that city. I think if I go back to Ronan, I'm going to do more like just traditional roguelite where you're going from like area to area. It's like you clear one area, you might get some items and shit, go into the next area, then you do that until you get to like the final boss or whatever. I'm thinking that's what I might do instead. It's a lot more approachable from a scope standpoint. But yeah. Hit up Eddie. Will this ever be on consoles? I'd love to. I just don't know when. How much the game is in C++ and like percent? The game is like 97% blueprint. Large portion of it is blueprint. %3% chat GPT? No, more like Googling like a normal human being. Hot take, open worlds are just big levels and none of them have poles or an equator. Open worlds, I always like to use the here's how I like to always explain open worlds. Open world is like taking chewing gum and just stretching out the chewing gum. And you can add chewing gum to it, but you're still stretching the shit out of it. And to add chewing gum, it's a lot more work to add chewing gum and more chewing gum. That's how I like to think of open worlds. You're literally just stretching out that shit. And it's not like you get more chewing gum. It's just stretched out. And to make it work, you have to add more chewing gum to the chewing gum. You know what I mean? Yeah. Make a big team go for a AAA game, which can be could be able to shake the whole game industry, such as GTA. I'm not that guy. I don't think I'm that guy. One day I'd love to make like a zombie survival game, like a proper one, very stalker-esque in some respects, but that's going to be down the line. I think before that I would make a zombie roguelite, and then I'd use those systems, make them open while just refining them and whatnot. I'm a combat kind of guy. I think that's my thing. I just like making combat, like very fun combat system games. I'm a noob. I'm still a noob. For the love of God, please no roguelite. It's probably the thing that I'm going to be doing, unfortunately. I know some people don't like it. I personally, I do like roguelites. I'm a fan of roguelites. So... I've heard of some games. I think Dead Cells has this. Can someone correct me or maybe explain how they do it? Dead Cells apparently has a like non-roguelite mode. Like, how does that work? It's like not a roguelite. How do they do that? What did I have to do in C++? Some optimizations. And then there's certain things that are not exposed in Blueprint that I had to do in C++. It runs on my 1650 like nothing, barely a spike. I'm glad you're having a good experience with it, Ruby. Some people don't have a good experience with it. Like I understand there's some memory leak stuff with the UI that I'm trying to figure out, but I think there's more optimizations I can make. It's one of those things I'm still learning, so. We Who Are About to Die. I think I talked to that developer. Wait, We Who Are About to Die. Is that the game I'm thinking about? Yes. Yeah, I talked to that developer. He's cool. Jordy. A non-permadeath mode, meaning your save doesn't get deleted when you die. That could, like, I could always put that as a setting. Like, that could always be a setting for players that might want to play that way. You know what I mean? Like, I always think if you can put in settings that players can just control, as long as it's not overwhelming, because there's some games where, like, they put a shit ton of settings, it gets pretty overwhelming. But I think if you can put a setting that allows people to still enjoy your game, like the third-person mode, for example, I think it's a win for everyone. You know, if you don't want to play with a setting, don't play with a setting. There are certain subset of gamers that are like, oh, they can make the game easier. That's fucking cringe. It's like, dude, it's a single player game, man. Get out of here. It's a combo, Nash. Assets, Kyle, back when he was doing some animations for the project, he made some raw animations and he also cleaned up some of the animations and whatnot. So, yeah. You've been learning for 10 to 12 years and you're still saying you're a noob? Yeah, I'm still a noob. Dude, game development is something people have to remember. If you make a game on your own, you're basically taking on the job of 18 different people. You're taking on the job of 18 different jobs in one. And I don't even do the music, and music is like 7 jobs itself, so it's a lot. There's a lot involved with making a game. You got level design, environment art, you got gameplay, UI, you got story or whatever. You've got audio design or sound design, music, which I don't touch. I don't touch that shit. I have bought like Ableton and FL, but more for me to like mess around with and as a hobby. There's so many more. Animation systems, or animation programming. QA is a whole thing itself. I'm missing like 5 million. I don't remember. AI behavior, I guess. I hate saying AI now because people misconceive it or misconstrue it as like AI gen, but I mean AI as in like enemy behavior and stuff like that. No, not that AI, man. I think you're right, though. Combat is your forte. You make some fun-ass combat. Right, and that's like something I'd like to, I think, just nail down. To make fun action games. That's like, I think, the biggest thing that I'd like to focus on. Game ran pretty smoothly on my ROG Ally. It runs pretty well on my Steam Deck. I think we can maybe make some more optimizations for the Steam Deck to make it run even better. I'm sure, like, obviously, there's always more places we can make the game run better. I just have to figure out, okay, like, where can we get that going? No VA, no AI, little animation, easy script. Yeah, like, I think you can definitely remove some of those requirements from working on a project for sure. Let's work on some stuff. Like, let me make a list. Update tutorial images to be more up to date. We do have to do that. I was thinking of actually turning the tutorial images into videos, because I felt like that would look kind of cool. Oh wait, disable HUD elements like score and death penalty. Okay. Someone did request that a while back. Player kills grenade enemies very quickly, causing them to not see when an enemy would throw. Need to improve the UX of this issue, especially since some challenges rely on it. I think this is better now since I improved it and fixed a couple issues with it. I haven't seen any complaints about the grenade enemies anymore. So I think I'm going to delete this task. I think this one's fine now. Improve the look of diving / sliding down ramps to not look as weird. I think we can fix that. So I think we have like a physical animation thing on the character's legs that looks really weird when you're sliding down ramps and stuff. Honestly, I'm thinking we just remove that part. Just remove the legs having physical animation. It's unnecessary, I think. Yeah. Super unnecessary in my opinion. And now that should no longer occur. Good sass. Now, of course, there is the issue where when you're sliding down, your character's body clips into things. So to fix that issue, we should align the character's animation to where they're sliding from, and that would fix that issue a little bit. Yeah, that would improve that problem. Some issues shouldn't be fixed, make speedrunning more fun. That's something, you know, some people would be like, oh, you can dive over certain objects and skip an entire level. I was like, in my head, I'm like, cool, let's keep it. You know, fuck it, let's keep it. Why not? Let's just leave it in. Good up, Jay. Oh yeah, toggling dive as well would be a good thing to add in. Oh yeah, add toggle dive setting. I think that would be a good thing to add in for this version, for this update. Like we should get these things down here done. They've been on the list for a while. I've just been avoiding them, so let's just not avoid them anymore. Let's not avoid them anymore. I made steak wraps. Did you make any for me? You made some for me, right? That's also just an assist mode to make it easier so you can have health regeneration and stuff. Oh, I guess the non-roguelite mode would be like if you die you can respawn then? Would that be that mode? I made some milk pudding for me and my husband if you want some. I'm not a big fan of milk pudding actually. But thank you, I appreciate that. That sounds like borderline not a roguelike. Interesting. Interesting. I have not played it. I honestly should play Dead Cells because it's like one of the, you know, it's like one of the peak games. As permanent upgrades and stuff. All right, so roguelite. I wouldn't say roguelike, roguelite. Similar to like Hades with the permanent upgrades and whatnot. Do I still watch UE tutorials? From time to time. It depends on like what it is. A lot more of the times though, it'll be like things like GDC talks or things like Ari when he does like a talk about optimizations and profiling and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Sometimes I watch beginner tutorials for nothing but enjoyment. It depends. I'll sometimes from time to time watch a video on like I'll watch stuff for like shaders. Like that seems to be one thing that I haven't learned very well. Like I'm still figuring out shaders and whatnot. But like a lot of videos for like UE4 are like, I don't know, trying to search up game dev UE, sorry, not UE4. Let's do UE5 because that's a new thing nowadays. Trying to search up a tutorial for UE5. I feel like a lot of these videos I just don't care for. They're all beginner tutorials. Like maybe the C++ one could be good. But like I learn more by experimenting myself nowadays rather than following tutorials. Most of the time when it comes to a tutorial, I'm just also this is fucking dog shit. Like, hey, explore more random videos that have nothing to do with the topic that I just searched up. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. Pirate software. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. It's fucking slop. This is slop. Any game that forces you to play the entire game if you die, permagame or not, is a rogue game for me, and I very much prefer they don't. I play, yeah, I think it would be a good idea just having, I think just having control over the game is always great. I don't think there's anything wrong with a game giving you settings for how you want to experience the game. As long as it doesn't like, there are some moments where a player will shoot themselves in the foot, change the experience of their game, and they end up not liking the game because they just changed it so much to the point where they actually like kind of ruined the experience for themselves. Like there are moments where that will occur. And that is obviously something to take into account. Sometimes that will happen. But yeah. Most of the time forum posts help me more than YouTube ever has. Yeah. Nowadays, yeah, it'll be like forum posts or that little tidbit of documentation that you somehow find that helps you at least go in the direction of learning things, or sometimes source code helps. There's occasionally a GDC talk or maybe a tutorial like 5% of the time that actually has like a little something that actually is worth like learning from. But unfortunately nowadays, the videos that get the most views are beginner videos. And I, while humble, am not a beginner anymore. I think I can say after 12 years, I don't think I'm a beginner anymore. Maybe in certain subjects, I am a beginner. Like shaders, for example. I would say I'm still beginner to intermediate. I'm definitely not like Prismatica level. Definitely not at that level. C++, beginner to intermediate. Nah, I'd say beginner. I wouldn't say intermediate. Definitely not close to intermediate yet for that one. So it's on a subject basis. Right, Link. You know, I think it's always good to make it so the base game feels the best, right? And then people can adjust it to their liking if they feel like some stuff are, you know, not good. To be fair, he's a shader crackhead. Dude, Prismatica literally is simulating the world with shaders. How the hell does he do it? How does he do it? I learned Blender by just watching guys stream. I actually genuinely think beginner tutorials for Blender are fucking awful most of the time. And you should just go in there and suffer. That's the best way to learn. Like that's literally a good way of learning, is to just go in there and just try to fuck with it. And then as you come across issues, you search up that specific issue and then you learn based off of going through the issues. Because I think watching a tutorial that's like, here's how to make a donut, I don't think is helpful. I've seen like so many people just get stuck at the donut and then they don't know how to go beyond the donut. And they're stuck at a donut. But that being said, learn in the way that helps you. That's it. Like everybody learns in different ways. So if a video helps you, then it helps you. It's not subjective, it's objective. If something helped you, it helped you. Like, that's fine, you know? I don't remember learning Blender. I just didn't know. I know for sure I went through the paces. So I started out, one pain point was like, wait, what the hell? I put a wall here, but it's invisible on the other side. So that was me learning, oh, hey, you have to have two faces to actually make double-sided walls. You know what I mean? I just went through the fucking, I went through the step list, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that's good to go through because it becomes approachable. Whereas if you try to teach someone everything right off the bat, it's like, you need two faces to have a thing, and then and then you extrude this, and then you have the UVs, and it's too much. You gotta like, you gotta just take it step by step. I think that's what I would say. Yeah. That's how I learned to use my first phone ever. Just grab it, F with it until you learn every tidbit of it. Right. And you go through every problem one problem at a time. I think that's a good way of learning. That's how I treat game development. Once I have to start optimizing a game, okay, you know, I start feeling a little better. My crosshair color settings finally saved upon booting up the game. Yes, I fixed it. I finally fixed it. Yeah, I still don't know how Substance Designer works, Jay. Christopher 3D, that guy shows legit stuff. Like, I learned new tricks. You have like a video, like a link of his? What is this Ronin game on your Steam page? It's one of my old projects I was working on. It's possible I work on next. I work on that game next, but I'm probably going to recreate it. Like, I'm just going to make a new start for that because I don't like where it was at. There's a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel of like working on that. Christopher 3D. See, there's a lot of things in here that are great, but not for me necessarily. They seem like they lean a lot more in the direction of Blender, like rendering in Blender, and I don't really care for rendering in Blender. SDS objects, subdivided surface. But there's some cool stuff in here. Like, I would like to learn geometry nodes. I think geometry nodes could actually be very helpful. Instead of me having to learn Houdini, I can still learn, I can instead try to learn geometry nodes. Like a few days ago, I was trying to teach my partner, I was trying to get her into Blender, but she wanted to model a plant. I was like, fuck. It's like, okay, you have the stem, you can make that out of a cylinder, and you can make each leaf yourself. But I had to tell her, there are ways of doing this better. It's just the thing is, it's too advanced for you to get to that point just yet. So it's like, that's the hard things to get into, is like, I can teach her how to make like a tree that generates each leaf along the stem or along a curve. But the problem is like, that's so advanced and way out of the beginning scope. But yeah. Sometimes the inefficient way is great to learn. The thing is, the inefficient way would allow you to learn the basics, right? So it's like, I think it taught her how to use, like, I taught her how to use the snap tool, and that you can snap on faces and shit like that. And then on top of that, it also taught her how to like move objects around and whatnot. You know what I mean? I think by going through those beginning shitty manual stages, you learn a lot of like the manual, you know, how to move things around, how to scale things, how to rotate things, you know, that type of stuff. So I think it's good to learn those things. Chris, this is Notion, Notion. Well, let me go up and chat. I think I missed a few. So for someone starting from scratch, courses or tutorials are not worth it. It's better to just jump into it. I was planning to learn Gaz so I could do some cleaner architecture when I get some time to start in Unreal, but maybe my approach is wrong. I was planning to learn Gaz, Gameplay Ability System, so I can do some cleaner architecture when I get some time to start in Unreal. I would say, Phantasmal, I would say get started with something easier, because even for me, and even for a lot of people that have been using the engine for like 15 years, Gaz will stunt your learning because there's a lot to learn about Gaz and the ways it works. It's good to learn it, don't get me wrong, or it's good to at least read into how they did things, because you can potentially learn what you can do by looking at what they do. But Gaz is literally made for multiplayer games. It is used in Fortnite, and it's used in Paragon. So it's quite literally a AAA tool. I wouldn't dive into Gaz as the first thing to learn, but it's always good to like look at it, because you might learn a few things from like a structural standpoint, how they made certain things and whatnot. Data transfer modifiers, correct topology planning and such is really good. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things that are good in there for sure. Fancy pop-ups with effects or something with a new PB. Yeah, I've been doing more of that. I've been using a lot more GPU materials on UI elements, because doing animations is expensive. It literally runs everything on the CPU, which fucking sucks. So I would recommend, Jay, look into Material Lab or whatever they called it. That's literally them releasing, I don't know where that is, UE Material Lab UI. UI Material Lab. Like, it's an entire thing that exposes a whole bunch of materials for you that you can use. I don't think I can make use of it, because I'm pretty sure it's UE5. But there's a lot of good shit in here, man. A lot of good stuff in here that kind of like shows you how to do all this kind of like UI work and whatnot. This would probably be a good spot to like reverse engineer stuff and see how they did certain things. And it's cool. There's some cool stuff in here. Like, the skewing thing is sick. Like, you could, in theory, make like a fake 3D UI using the UI skewing. And that would have been badass when I was working on Ronin. But I made that, I made a hacky version myself. I made a hacky version myself. Is it worth learning Substrate, or should I just stick to SLab? I don't know. I haven't used Substrate enough. I don't think I ever will. I want to learn it because I didn't like how I handle inputs in other projects, like in Unity with State Machine, a lot of conditions and so on. I think with Gaz, just for the actions and abilities, you could do it with gameplay tag, but I was planning to ignore the multiplayer stuff. You can't really ignore them. You can, but not really ignore the multiplayer stuff, because it's so integral to the way that Gaz is built. I would say give it a try, Phantasmal, but you will get frustrated for sure. Like, one thing I got frustrated with Gaz is just the basic system. And this is from a beginner, not using it enough. Just the concept of sending information to the gameplay ability or a gameplay action or whatever it was called. Just to do something, just to send data, like a vector direction, or sending a payload. That was already so frustrating on its own to try to figure out how to send that information to the object. But hey, I'd say give it a try, man. I'd say give it a try. But if you get frustrated, you know, just take time to figure out like what part of it is frustrating, and kind of go from there. It'll be a lot though. Okay, let's get some work done. We've been yapping this entire stream. Add a toggle dive setting. Okay, so toggle dive means when you hit the dive button, you don't need to hold it. And when you land, instead of you rolling, you'll stay on the ground until you hit spacebar again. Or maybe I should install Max Payne and figure out what they did there. Maybe I should learn how Max Payne did it. Because I think in Max Payne, someone told me when you start hitting a movement input, your character just starts moving in the direction of the movement input. So that might be more intuitive as well. I was thinking you'd have to hit spacebar once you get on the ground again to get up. Yeah, exactly, Ruby. Yeah. See, here's the thing. I know the game it has feelings of inspired by Max Payne. I never played it, so these are things that I'm trying to figure out. Let's get started with just adding the UI element on the screen in the settings menu. Yeah, Jay, it's fucked, man. It's fucked. How does UEVR work? So the UEVR mode just kind of disables certain things. But the thing is, the third person mode already kind of does that. So this needs some work. It's not like perfect right now by any means. It's a little buggy in some respects. But it basically disables certain things. And in this case here, we would just disable some effects based off of if you have it enabled or not. But of course, you need to install the plugin and all that shit yourself, right? So, and you have to set up the profile and whatever. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. You know, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Okay, so toggle time focus when diving. So I think putting this underneath here, toggle dive row. So toggle dive is going to be the text. Toggle dive. All right. And then game.toggle dive will be our CVAR. Let's just write that down. And toggle dive by default will be set to turned off. Or maybe it should be turned on. No, I'll just make it turned off. I'm not gonna fuck around with that. Okay. The game needs a harder mode. Can you make it so, can you make a mode that if you die in the game, that I come to the loser's house and shoot them? There might be some legal implications with that I don't know if I want to deal with. There might be a couple legal implications. I don't know what legal implications it might have, but there might be a couple. Might not be very good for me legally to do. I have plans, not that idea. I have plans for a harder enemy mode. So like the enemies will be a lot harder. I do have plans for that. Oh yeah, Jay, by the way, you were asking me how you set data So what I do is I have the levels static data. I have an entirely different struct or like data array. That's what I save, and that's what gets changed on a per level basis. And then when I load the level, I match the two data points. Okay, is this level completed? Then I can check the data within that, and I filter through the entire thing. That's how I check which levels you completed and stuff. That's exactly what I did. Yeah. So I don't edit the actual data asset that's associated with the static data. I leave that as is. Because I don't think that's, as per design, I don't think a data asset is meant to be changed like in runtime. Now you can use I forget what it's called, primary data asset. There's a data asset that you actually can change in runtime. It just does, I don't think it saves. I don't think it saves from session to session. And you can only edit that one data asset. And I don't think you can create the data asset manually. So at that point, I wouldn't use that. I only use that for like editor tools, like what I did for the zombie game when I was making it. So it was this. I don't know if I still have the video of that. I'm sure I do somewhere. Maybe. Somewhere. I don't know. I must have deleted some of the footage, which is really annoying. Oh, wait, no, it's this one. This tool uses a specific data asset type where I can generate some shit in play, and then I can set a value, and it'll set it in editor, which is kind of sick. And then it respawns it and actually sets it up in the editor. But I forget which file type it was that we used for that. I think it's something data asset. I want to say it's primary data asset. I don't remember. But you could do stuff in runtime, which is kind of cool. And then it just saves it to the editor. So you can do some pretty cool stuff with that, I'm sure. Okay, so we have toggle dive. Now we just have to get it to work. So the current system is if you hold space and then let go while you're in midair, you'll roll at the end of the dive. We need to make it so you stay on the floor when you're done. So let's go to our player. If I were to guess, this is on landed. Land? What? Oh, on movement mode changed. Is not diving, is diving. Okay, disable physical AMs, landing velocity, cloth blend weight, melee hit dust. Aha, here it is. So dodge roll. So what we want to do here, get CVAR bool value for toggle dive. If toggle dive is not turned on, then on landing we do not want to roll. So working as usual, but now toggle dive. So I'm just going to hit the dive button and then let go. Oh, we still end up getting up. Something else is causing us to get up. So this is a start, but something else is doing some stuff. Safe undive. What? What is safe undive? I should just look for all the references of get up. Oh, allow get up, 0.8 seconds. Hold on, hold on. I think it might be get up, allow, it might be allow get up. Oh wait, no, attempt to get up. Attempt to get up after diving, only play when player is currently prone. Let me try something. We're just gonna try this real quickly. It's not the correct way of doing this, but now I can't get up, which is not good. It's got to be a timer. Oh shit. Is this being run randomly? Yep. I don't know where it's running that though. Where are you? Where are you running that? Oh, here. Attempt to get up after diving. Oh shit. Okay. So I don't think we want to call this. So that should no longer call that. So now what we need what we need to do is when you hit spacebar, I'm curious to see what's going to happen if I do this here. Also, what's really annoying is that this is only being called in dash and not in dive. In the actual dive, oh god, I hate how I did this. Oh, I hate how I did this. Why did I have to code this way? I'm a donkey. So this checks bunch of shit. When we hit press, I don't know why all this is scattered, by the way. This ain't right. There we go. I feel much better. I feel much better after cleaning that. Okay, so the reason you don't use gameplay tag for these pools, or was that a new thing? I started using gameplay tags for some of them. I have not converted all of them to gameplay tags because I just, yeah. I have though. We have a variable in here called player tag container, which we use for certain things, but I have not converted all of them to that. So, yeah. Lots of booleans. Boolean here, boolean there, boolean everywhere. If toggle dive and diving attempt to get up. So now when you hit spacebar on the ground, you'll get up. That being said, if you hit spacebar again while in midair, it will do that. Because it's setting the timer. Let me check. Oh wait, hold on. This is not going to work. Because the way I coded this, I made two different inputs for it. I need to go to this one. Listen, don't ask me why I did it this way. Okay, no questions. This is non-question hour right now. Okay. Hey, Valp, how's it going? No questions at this time. All right, so B for dive. Hey, click B. And then I can tap it again, and it's a toggle. But I would assume if you hit WASD, the character would get up, right? Until you click any button. Can I ask you a question about no questions hour? Currently, listen, it's no questions hour. There's no questions even about no questions hour. I would appreciate if we have no questions during no questions hour. Even if it's a question about no questions hour. In fact, you just asked me a question about no questions hour, and I'm distraught. How dare you? You just asked a question about asking a question. Okay, it works, but should I make it so if you hit W or any of the movement buttons that you start moving and you uncrouch? Would that be the intended way of doing that? I also think what I'm going to do... That's not what I meant to do, but okay. Let's not set the timer for this. If you have toggle dive. I think that makes sense. That would also make it so we can push the movement buttons. Okay, so... whoa. Movement. Where's the movement? Movement? I'm in movement. Where's movement? Where's the actual movement? Ah, here it is. Of course. Why did I make this shit so long? Also, why is this the way it is? I can't wait to start learning C++. My code will look 10% better. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I was going to say 2 times, but I think 10% is a good number to aim for. Just to start with. I don't want to get ahead of myself, you know what I mean? Like you know, do you think C++ will be easy for me to learn? I think the syntax is going to be the hardest part. But once I get past that, and then I get past causing a memory leak, I'm sure things will get easier. I'm sure once I caused like 7 memory leaks and like got past that and figured out how to fix it and stuff, you know, I think it'll be okay. Once again, well, yeah, you know what I mean. Now that you have programmer brain, I think it helps a lot. I do have a little bit of programmer brain. Well, now you've indirectly answered the question during no questions. How exactly do you feel about that? I feel violated. It is not it is currently no questions hour, no longer, unfortunately, because you guys fucking ruined it. Do you know any other programming languages, maybe higher level than C++? I do not. I'm not that smart. I don't know C. I don't know Odin. I don't know Jai. I don't know any of that. I'm fucking dumb. Don't ask me how to make a compiler, because I don't know how to. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Hey, I'm new to the stream. Is this project being built only using blueprints, or are there specific components made with C++? There is some stuff made in C++. I just don't know how to use the... We're talking about the higher level stuff, like those things. I don't know how to use any of those. Like, C, I don't know how to use C. I don't know how to use fucking whatever. I messed around with Java a long time ago. I don't remember anything of Java, though. I'm 1 semicolon away from 2,000 crashes. Man, why the hell? I always want to learn new engines for some reason. It sounds like you just want to make game engines. You don't really want to make games. And I think that's perfectly fine. I just want to make games and play games and make cool shit and whatnot. I don't know how blueprints translate to C++. Apparently, Unreal C++ is a lot easier than traditional C++. And I've already done some of the C++. It's the translation from blueprint to C++ is a lot. It makes it a lot easier, like having all of that blueprint experience. I think it's just the syntax, man. The ampersand and the difference between ampersand and asterisk. I think I remember learning a little bit of it, but I'm still quite confused. You know what I mean? It's just going to be... just like how learning anything, it's like working out a muscle, but in your brain. And I just haven't worked out that muscle enough. I'm currently on like 5-pound dumbbells, and I'm working on it. Someday we're going to get the 30-pound dumbbells, and my ass is only going to work arms and chest and not legs. And then we'll be fine. Leg day? Don't know what that is. Never heard of it. Except for the leg press. The leg press is one of the best machines, and leg extension. But for some reason, my apartment gym does not have any of those. And that's fucking stupid. Why do you not have... 10x engineer by the end of the year then? I ain't no engineer. I'm just going to be a 10x game dev. Full stack game dev. But I'm full stack in terms of just game dev stuff. I don't know any of that other stuff. I don't really care for that other stuff. TBH. I'm just here to make video games. Whenever I see like arguments online on Twitter and stuff, it's like, if you can't make a game engine, you're not a real programmer. It's like, yeah, no shit. I'm not a programmer. I'm a game dev. Get used to it, Notch, or whoever the fuck wrote that. Oh yeah, it was Notch. It was Notch. Yeah. I don't care for any of that. I think I learned, I've got old man brain. I just don't care for any of that shit. I just want to make cool games. That's it. I just want to make cool games that people hopefully enjoy. I don't care about any of that other noise. Hey, you should be able to optimize the entire game so it runs on a fucking USB stick. It's like, I don't care. I'll try to optimize the game, but that's because I want my player base to enjoy it on a broad range of specs, and they don't need to spend $3,000 on a computer. Like, that's it. Like, it's not because I'm optimizing it because there's a fucking whatever going on within the gaming circle. It's just because I just want people to be able to enjoy the game. Can I play Superhire on a TI-84 calculator? I don't even know what that is. Is that old calculator that everybody used during school that had like a blue shell and it had like a cover that you could put on the calculator? Is that the one I'm thinking about? That can play Doom? There's no way. You can install Pokemon on it? What the hell? None of us did that in school. I didn't have any smart kids in my class. These fuckers. No wonder I turned out the way I did. Okay, let's see if I did. Let's see if I can. What? Oh, it doesn't check if we're diving. Oh, that's not very good. Depends how you built your game. I started a C++ project. Basically, I don't even need to place any static mesh anymore. Whole world just generates itself, but the coding is brutal. Thank God I got ChatGPT to help me out, but even then, still questioning my life choices every compiler error. Yeah, that sounds about right, man. Listen, man, when you go into game dev, you're going to be questioning everything, every day. I'm hitting the movement keys. It is not working. What do you mean? Why does it not work? What do you mean it does not work? Why does it not work? Let me preview the player character. Oh. Oh, whoops. There's a boolean here that checks that you're not diving. Oh. Well, I guess that makes my job a bit easier then. Oh God. Oh goodness. Why did this have to be like this? All right, well, okay, that's good for me then, I guess. The pirate software, it runs on a smart fridge, acting like he doesn't know it's run through a PC into the screen of the fridge. The Superhire solo project, also, how long did it take you from start to 1.0? It's not really, I don't like calling it a solo project because that's disingenuous. I have a music artist that's on the team right now who does music. We used to have a programmer a long time ago during the beginning of the development. The game used to be a game jam, and that was like multiple people during that like period of time. And then it like turned into like an actual fully fledged like project. And then we had some contractor people who did some environment art, so they were on for like a period of time. So I wouldn't say it's solo, but I did do a lot. I just Yeah. Is there any way where we can see the footage of the game project? Search up Thinwick, IndieDB. It's very funny because you can really see the identity of the game still in the Game Jam project. Like, look at this. You can still sort of see, funny enough, the identity of the original game here. I don't know if we have any videos, but you can still download it. You can still download it. For some reason, we still have 524 popularity. I don't know how the fuck... I don't know how that happened, but... 7 years ago. In terms of how long it took, getting back into it, 4 years. 5 years. Too long. Way too long, man. Way, way, way too long. Ah! Downloading Curious. It's much more arcadey in the sense that it's literally just shoot gun, hit enemy, they drop a bullet. Yeah. Okay, I got a virus. Help. Got him. No, I'm just kidding. There shouldn't... I don't know. Unless that file somehow got infected without me knowing. Attempt to get up movement. If this and move forward, move right. This is not equal to 0, or this is not equal to 0. Attempt to get up. Okay, so now... Okay, here's one thing I don't like. Hear me out. If you hold a movement key after diving, you immediately get up. Which I feel like that doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? I don't know how... I don't know how I would want to fix that. Yeah, I would ideally see it as like, okay, the only moment you would actually get up, if you're holding A, for example, and then you dive, he shouldn't get up until you click a different button or you let go of A and then press it again. But unfortunately, these stupid, where the fuck, buttons they run on tick once per frame. And I would rather them run not on an axis, but the thing is... Okay. We can create a gate close the gate until you let go of all the keys. The game keeps crashing, but it does feel like it still has the essence. It also boots up Oculus VR along with it. Oh, it has the classic Unreal Engine issue that we didn't fix, I guess, which is turning off the VR plugins. The classic. Previous CEO of Hypixel is pretty confident you can get Hytale out before GTA 6 if the deals don't take forever. What's the deal with that? Because I know they were basically canceling Hytale. I think the Hypixel CEO wanted to repurchase the rights to Hytale, right? Was that the right? I know they shut down the studio and canceled it, but he wants to rebuy the IP. I wonder how that's gonna fucking happen. Like, are they gonna offer up the IP? Are they gonna make it so expensive? He's pretty confident he can get it. I wonder if he feels like he fucked up by selling the game to Riot. I guess he technically got a bunch of funding for like the longest time, but I don't know. I think you know there is that quote where anybody has a price. You know what I mean? You know that quote, that famous quote, anybody has a price. I don't know. I don't know if I ever want to sell God Mode Interactive, like my brand, I guess, or whatnot. I don't think I'd ever want to sell it because like this is something I want to do for my entire career until I don't know, retire or something, whenever, if that's even possible. Have I seen the new Mind's Eye Disaster? Thoughts on the topic? What's the new disaster? I thought that shit was always a disaster. Even before the game released, I had a feeling it would be a fucking disaster, and it was, unfortunately. I don't wish for games to have a disaster. I can feel it out when it happens, when I see it. I feel like we should close this. His approach to Hytale is just get the game out at this point, even if it's super rough. It's 2025. I don't like. It really depends how rough. If it's still in a state where it's playable and shows promise, I think okay. And it's just based off of like their modding support and stuff that's still rough. Yeah. He said they would probably only have creative mode on launch. That creative mode has got to be really good. I don't know, man. That is that I you know what my problem with that is it just adds to the problem that gamers are perceiving developers as like lazy and whatnot and just throwing shit out there just to throw shit out there to get some funding and whatnot, to get some money. And I think that just adds to that problem. That's what that feels like to me. Maybe like a super early demo survival if they have enough money. I think they should do the other way around if they can. Do the survival mode kind of like what Minecraft did, but like that's what I mean by it's 2025. You already have a game that is super successful that you are basically basing your entire inspiration off of, which is Minecraft. You are competing with Minecraft in essence. And a lot of their marketing was we're making a better Minecraft. I don't know, dude. I don't know. The Reddit was on fire. It's so funny to watch. Everyone was hustling refunds. Like now? Like after release, or like what's going on right now with Mind's Eye? Did they like cancel their development and shit? They're delaying their post update, their post update content, or their post release content. The delays Hitman crossover update. God, what the fuck? It's just constant problem after problem. He wants it back on the legacy engine, not whatever the fuck Riot was doing. Didn't Riot want them to put it on like Unreal or something? I don't know. I think them selling to Riot was a fucking bad idea, but that's probably like it was probably delaying their death. It was their own engine. AAA really going down the drain these last couple of years? I think it's just really bad decisions. Really bad decisions just piling up, just piling up. How would I do this? Gate. Enter. So I only want to open this gate once we've let go of all movement keys. How can you make a better Minecraft if the modders already did that? I don't know, man. The only reason they wanted it on a new engine was for cross-platform. That was literally the whole reason for making an entire new engine for it. Huh. Okay, interesting. Hey, Ryan, do you intend to release the game for PS4 and PS5? I don't know. I have Xbox planned. I don't know about PlayStation just yet because they're a little bit more complicated. Yeah, I just don't know if that's the right play. For Hytale itself and for just game development in general, having this precedent where it's like, let's just get that shit out there. Now, I don't know what state Hytale was in when they were working on their own stuff. Like the screenshots and the videos and stuff looked really cool, but I don't know, doing this shit where it's like, let's just get it out there is like, it's part of the problem, I feel like. He said before he sold it to Riot, it was at most 2 years from launch. Interesting. So they kind of must have gotten fucked over by Riot trying to like push them to refactor a bunch of stuff. Interesting. I heard porting to PlayStation is way more involved than Xbox. There's a lot more involved. There's a lot more involved. I'd love to, though. I'd love to. It'd feel weird only releasing the Xbox, and I'm sure, you know, people would want it to release on other platforms as well. So when we go through this, we want to go through a gate. This only gets called when we're diving. And this will go through constantly, as long as toggle dive is set up. So I think what we actually want to do is call this as the first condition. As the second condition, we want to check if move forward and whatnot is not any button. So it means we are pushing one of the buttons. Makes sense. I could understand if your funding's over or you hit the deadline so on, releasing is better than just putting everything in the trash bin. Like what we're seeing isn't malicious intent, I think. We're seeing failures at large scale. Right. Don't get me wrong. It's not malicious intent. I think the thing is it will come across as malicious intent because you are releasing something that's half-baked and you know it's half-baked. Unfortunately, gamers don't see it in such a way where it's like they are basically going into like an early access crowdfunding. I think some people could look into it. Like, you could have your dedicated fan base like invest into it, and it's essentially like investing. It's like doing a Kickstarter and getting an early access. Unfortunately, the problem with early access is people don't treat it as early access, as like testing. They treat it as getting the product, and unfortunately, what ends up happening is you get a really bad first impressions. Unless the creative mode is really fun, then it's like, okay, you know, people can find ways of finding enjoyment in it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a problem. I think it could definitely be done. It's just like with all the competition and whatnot, I don't know if they'll go very far. I think the reality is they're gonna have to downscale their team like a shit ton. unless the creative mode is really fun and whatnot and everything. I think it'll be fine as long as they're super clear in marketing and stuff that it's essentially an alpha test. It would be much less than an alpha test, almost like a pre-alpha, because people wouldn't even have access to the thing I think people were mostly looking out for Hytale, which is the survival mode, I suppose. It'll be interesting to see. So we have a gate. It starts closed. So I can open it by checking if none of the things are there. Okay, that's good. We need to close it though. And we can close it by calling it from here. Yes. That's the way to do it, baby. Let's hold on. I let go of the key. I hit another button. It works. I really like your game, but I haven't had the opportunity to play it on the PC yet because I don't have it, just the PS4. That's fair, Ryan. I got you. I got you. Trust me, I do. I would love to get it on console. I would love to. It works! So if I'm holding A, I have to let go of A and then click it again and then I get back up. I feel like that's more intended. I feel like that's more intended, right? Right? Or if you hit the button to go back up, or if you hit the dive button, then you get up. That seems pretty intended, I think. We'll see what people say. Maybe they yell at me. You know, Kuro. Okay, toggle diving. It's in, baby. Wait, hold on. Let's try reset my inputs so we go back to the defaults. Okay, that seems pretty good from a toggle dive. So this is me not pushing any buttons. Then I hold W. This is me only holding W. Okay, I let go and then I hit W again. That feels pretty reasonable. Like, I don't know how Max Payne does it. Not the best get up animation, don't get me wrong. But all right, toggling dive. Let me double check and make sure everything else is still working as intended before toggle dive. I let go, it rolls. I let go, we get up. All right, looks like we're good. People have been asking for more melee attacks or melee combos. I don't know if they mean melee attacks as in base attacks or just more execution animations. You can never tell when someone says something because there could be a language barrier. Maybe they don't know what terminology to use. Who knows what it could mean? I don't know. I do wonder if Riot will play ball. I feel like they won't, but at the same time, it's like they're not going to make any money on it anyway, so may as well just get some where you can. Thing is, there is power in holding an IP. There is a little bit of power in holding an IP hostage. It fucking sucks, but let's see what Riot does. You have somewhat of an ETA on the Xbox release, by the way? That's where I'll be playing? No clue. I can't give any dates. I think that would be disingenuous for me to give any dates. And also false promises. Hopefully, ideally, it'd be cool to have it at the end of this year. But I'm not sure. Not sure. I remember when the game was only top-down? Yep. We got a whole lot of everything over here. We got a whole lot of everything, except for first person, which I probably will never do. I'm sure a modder will find a way to do it. The thing I don't think is good about first person is you don't see all of the animations that happen. You know what I mean? And it kind of just seems weird. First person just doesn't seem fitting for the game. I'm sure a modder will find a way to do it. Ah, yes, the Bethesda approach. Ah, yes. Okay, toggle dive. It's in the game. It's in the game. My throat is starting to get fucked. Automatic reload setting when empty. I was also thinking of doing a UI element that shows when you're reloading. I think I would probably put that in alongside the condensed crosshair UI. Bethesda is the reason I don't pre-order games anymore. I don't like Bethesda, to be honest. I just don't. I don't like their games. Skyrim was kind of fun, but it doesn't fucking work anymore. I don't really like their games. I don't like Fallout. I don't really care for it. I don't know. It's just not my not my wheelhouse, you know? Not my wheelhouse of games at all. And the way they approach things, not a fan either. Stalker's just better Fallout. I just don't really... I think the thing with Fallout specifically is I'm not a big fan of the, like, apocalyptic style. Like I just don't really like that style very much. I think that's the thing for me. Is I don't really it's not my thing. It's not for me. And then also their games feel extremely outdated. Yeah, and janky. That being said, my game is supposedly janky, so I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to fix that. Do I have any camera tips? My executions don't feel snappy enough yet. I don't really have any. Like, I try to be very subtle with camera movements because I treat it as I don't want to do too much camera moving because that could get in the way of someone's aim. You've become what you swore to destroy. It's such a weird thing. You have one side of reviews that say it's perfect, it feels really good for them, and then you have one side of the reviews that say the game feels janky. I just need to figure out, like, I guess it could be the executions not being fully synced up. Could be that. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by camera tips though, Kuro. Like, what kind of camera tips? Like camera positioning, like camera shake. Like something I do with my camera placement for this game is like in third person, if you get close to a wall, it'll get closer to the center. If you're too close, it'll go kind of zoom into the player character. There's a shoulder swap that does basically the same thing. In top down, I can't see my crosshair, man. The tiny crosshair is not very good in top down. I move the camera in the direction of enemies that are on screen. So they slowly blend into the shot very slowly. I'll like average out where the enemies are. So if I like keep my crosshair here, you'll see that the camera slowly moves in their directions a little bit. Something that I think would be kind of cool is if there's no other enemies around and just the enemies that are like melee attacking you, maybe zooming in the camera a little bit could be kind of cool. But I haven't done any stuff like that for top down. I did do some stuff in third person when you do an execution. I'll blend between the player and the enemy. The problem is there's a bug right now where sometimes the camera will go through a wall because of that. I don't do any wall detections when I do any of that stuff, so... The jank comes when you're on uneven ground, takedowns get really off sync. So when people are, because I just want to get the perspective, right, to understand where to focus efforts to make the jank feel less, you know, janky, I guess. Because I feel like jank is used as a very encompassing term that could mean 5 million different things. And I understand, I'm not asking people to take the time out of their day to like fucking explain all their shit, you know, the things that they feel about the game. Because that is like, at that point, I might as well pay the motherfucker. Yeah, I can understand the takedowns getting unsynced. Maybe that's what most people are kind of referencing when they mean jank. Like maybe that's what it is, but... Yeah. Jank is a feeling, could mean the vibe of your game. They could be referencing the visuals of the game. So like that's, you know, like that could be it. That's something I did That could be one of the factors. Like, it could just be the visuals of the game. I don't know if I'd define that as jank, but yeah. I'd love to make it less janky. You know what I mean? I'd love to make it less janky. Maybe I make like a thread post on the Steam forums and just be like, "Hey guys, I heard the term jank being used a lot, and I'm just curious what what do you mean by jank? Like, what is your definition of jank?" Oh right, I don't know how this is still happening. Gotta fix that. Yeah, define jank in your own words. What do you, yeah. Jank is great. I think jank does make it feel like a family. It's like a family-owned business. That's what makes it feel so close to home. Which perspective do I prefer? I think both are good. I like third person because it's fun, and most of the games I play are third person. But I also acknowledge the fact that top down, I think, in my opinion, top down, while not a lot of people like it, I think top down gives you the superhuman sense of being able to know your entire surroundings. And obviously the game looks a bit better in top down visually in some respects. So I like both. I think top down matches the game, like what the game is trying to be more. So yeah. Third person feels tacked on, but top down feels like the game was made for it. Yeah, like I wonder what things I could do to make that feel a little less like that, I guess. Maybe it's like the crosshair is in 3D space. Maybe I can make it so it's not in 3D space. Maybe that could be one factor. Because the crosshair does move a little bit, so it's like could be that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe it's the lack of some camera shake, even though there is a little bit, but not as much in top down, or in third person, sorry. It's a lot more noticeable in top down. So maybe that could be something I can look into. Without overdoing it, of course. Yeah, maybe the camera could be more dynamic. Maybe that's... Maybe that could be it. See you later, punk. That's something we could fix. Or figure out how to fix. That's why, for example, Concord doesn't work. How does your game make your player feel like for yours? Maybe the player doesn't feel enough like they're John Wick. I think the thing is, I think the problem is the game does try to make you feel like an action movie protagonist, but the thing is, I don't want to make it too serious either. But I think the thing that's wrong is some people do take it a lot more seriously than it's intended to be. And so what ends up happening is they want everything to be like tactical, right? Which is fair. I try to make it tactical in some respects, right? But there are, you know, there are some goofy elements to it that I've kind of sort of leaned into a little bit, because it's just like, you know, I'm just one guy. I can't make it like the most serious, coolest fucking like thing in the world, I guess. Yeah. Like maybe some blending in the diving I can maybe fix up. maybe there's some elements there that I could work on. Hey, Woozy. Anyways, I'm glad that we put the toggle diving in. We definitely did not get as much done as I would have liked, though. Yeah. Anyways, I gotta go. I gotta go clean the dishes. Gotta go clean the dishes. It's almost been 3 hours as well. Maybe I do an extra stream tomorrow. I don't know. I gotta go clean up the place and clean up the dishes and stuff. At the very least, you should do a daily Scrandle. All right, Scrandle speed run. Let's do a Scrandle speed run. All right, Scrandle speed run. Let's see here. What do we got? Play daily. This hot dog. That one's white. I don't know why that one's white. A fish finger sandwich versus a chicken parma loaded chips. Yeah, I'm going for the chicken parma chip. Listen, man, what the fuck is that thing, man? That's disgusting. Oh, shit. Dude, this is a tough one. I'd go for either of these. This has no price data. Sausage, chicken, and bacon skewers. Shit, man. Shit, this is making my mouth water. This one looks like it has cum in it, so we're going to go with this one. Yes! Anti-cum. Okay, really? Meatball sandwich? We're going to go for the pepperoni pizza burger because the meatball sandwich is literally just a single meatball wrapped in buns. All right, French hot dog. I wouldn't be seen eating that in public. I'd have to, like, cover up my mouth. We're going to go with this one. Oh, shit. I'm not going to lie. Both of these kind of look good. The pizza doesn't look bad. I'd eat that. I'll go, yeah, Korean barbecue. I'd eat either of those, TBH. Steak and chips or a sausage, chips, and curry sauce. This cost less. I'll go 2. Oh! They both kind of don't look bad, but... Le sandwich lyonnais? Lyonnaise? Loaded fries with salt and pepper chicken. It's I don't know. 1? Maybe I'd eat it. Spicy pulled pork roll. Brother, just go for the spicy pulled pork. Brother, obviously left. Perfect score! That was too easy. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow or the day after. Have a great weekend. See you guys later. Goodbye. Perfect score. That's all we do here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm going to work on this a bit more. I just have to clean the dishes. Also, thanks for telling me to make my game 3 years ago. I moved to Alpha next month. Yes! Good shit! Hell yeah.